Welcome back to another week of What Sold eBay edition. This is what sold in our eBay store, and we're showing you what we paid for it, what it sold for, and also I'm gonna add in some items that I have shipped a lot of, and I can give you some packing tips. So here we go.
Welcome to Jack and Mary Jane's. We're just a couple of young Carolina pickers sharing our adventures and living for the next great pick.
So I basically was behind all last week and forgot to create a what sold video for last week. Last week we sold about $1,500 worth of items and it was just too much for me to try to capture. But this week I'm going to try to get it for you. The Westinghouse fan from the 3 Generation Pick, our most recent YouTube video, sold for $30, which is pure profit. And I'm using an old light box that we recently purchased for the laundry room remodel that we're doing on Instagram. We also sold another vintage Chrissy doll. We found this at the 3 Generation Pick as well, sold for $40, and again, pure profit. If you've watched our first video, 3 Times the Charm, you saw the vintage Beatles doll that sold for $175, and that's pure profit. The new in the box, old new Texas Wear Bowls from the 3 Generation Pick as well, sold for $70. Also on the 3 Generation Pick, you saw that we bought a ton of military comic books and we sold them in lots of 20. We sold 3 lots this past week, and we started the bid at 99 cents because we weren't sure what the true value. We just watched them go up and up after about 3 or 4 days being listed. The first lot sold for $42.89, the second lot sold for $47.88, and the third lot sold for $59.88. The last 2 there were the same buyer. Those military comic books worked out for us. That was pure profit. Next item that sold is the Barclay Soldier lot. This sold for $35, and that's pure profit. We refer to that as the Cap Gun House. We also sold a lot of Valentine's cards for $30, again from the 3 Generation Pick, so it's pure profit. And then vintage NASCAR patch lot for $49.88. This is from an old pick that we got a bunch of old hats and we've already made our money back. So again, pure profit. And then we sold a bag of marbles for $35. Again, 3 Generation Shed pick, pure profit. I don't know if this is my 7th or 8th, but I'm shipping out another slot car for $30, pure profit. It took a little bit of time to figure out how to ship these, but Styrofoam and creating its own little insert is the best way I can find, and I'm getting positive feedback from buyers, so we're just going to keep doing it that way. Last item I'm shipping out is a Kiss LP that sold for $35, and it's actually getting shipped to Brazil. I always use the USPS International Media Mail option for shipping. It has tracking, and it's usually what most buyers are comfortable with.
First thing I'm going to show you is that I typically use USPS for shipping my items. Through my eBay store, I have a label printer and I just print labels through eBay. That saves me around 35% on postage, but there's other options like Pirate Ship, which I haven't used. I've priced it out a couple times and it was about the same for me just to use the Postal Service or UPS. I found that UPS is more cost effective than FedEx, but that's just me. So for shipping small items like these stickers, we have hundreds and hundreds of these. And so we sell 2 of them at a time for $5. We've sold these for a year, just every other week it seems like, shipping these out. So what I do is, since I pay all my bills online, I get some bills in the mail still. So I'll save the envelope that they want me to return my check into, and then I'll just put a piece of copy paper in here. So the copy paper just kind of protects it a little bit, and I don't provide tracking on this. This is the only thing I do not provide tracking on. I put a little gift tag asking them to please write us a nice review, put that in there. If for whatever reason they do not receive this item and they send me a message saying it's lost or whatever, I will gladly just ship them some more, because like I said, I have hundreds of these. They didn't cost me anything, and it's pure profit. Another thing we do, since we are picking usually in barns and such, and sometimes things are already packaged up, like this radio that sold, it's already in the box. Try to show it to you there. So it's a little small for this box, but it's perfect size to ship in because it's double corrugated, and although it looks rough, what I can do is pack this with bubble wrap and some packing paper and then use this box. And since it's yucky looking, all I'm gonna do is just put a larger poly bag over top of it and ship it out like that. So that didn't really cost me any packing supplies other than some bubble wrap. Another thing we sell a lot of are old hats. Now, we buy hats from 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they usually sell anywhere from $400 to $25. Today we're shipping out 2 NASCAR Dale Earnhardt hats and they sold for $25. This box is the box I ship all of our hats in. It's a box number 4 on the USPS website. It's a free box they'll ship to you, free packing supplies. And so I usually put some bubble wrap or some brown packing tape on the front and back just to really protect the bill. And then it just slides in like on a diagonal there. And I'm gonna repack this after this video, but I'm just kind of showing you real quick. This is what it looks like in the box, and then it fits so nicely there. And I always put a little bit of paper up top in case someone used a knife or scissors to cut the top so they don't mess up the hat. Another thing that's so easy are vintage tees and shirts. We sell a lot of vintage clothing on our eBay store. Usually just have to measure from the top to the bottom and then pit to pit. This is an old Nike tank top, and then we also have a military airborne shirt that's going out today. Both of these different buyers. So what I'll do is I'll fold it really nicely. I'll put in, of course, a little thank you card. Please leave us a review. I don't typically put it on the actual item just in case it gets hot, wet, something, and the ink would get on the shirt and then I'd have to give a refund. So what I do is I will save the old tissue paper for my kids' birthday parties, and I will, as long as it's, you know, in decent shape, I'll wrap it up, piece of tape, the little tag, and then put it in a poly bag. It ships for a few dollars. I typically do that for items that are like vintage tees that sell for 10 bucks and vintage tees that sell for 150 bucks. It just depends, but that's pretty much how I wrap all of our vintage clothing. So this did not sell on our eBay store, but I'm gonna show you this as well. This, I posted a picture on our Instagram that we had a bunch of panoramics. This one is actually 42 by 10. And so it's a large frame. I don't have a box big enough for this. I'm actually gonna have to Frankenbox this. And so to Frankenbox it, my husband's giving me a show in front of the window. And my son just did the same thing. That's great. I sent them outside so I could actually get this done and not get interrupted, but clearly that's not working. So what I did is I cut up some old styrofoam that I had, and the part where I cut it so it doesn't just go everywhere, I just taped it real quick. So I did that before I got on this camera, but what I'm gonna do is just really try to protect it as much as I can. And so I'm gonna put these styrofoam plates here. I've done this 3 or 4 times. So it's worked out every time. I hope it's okay. But anyways, I will kind of do this to protect the glass, as well as put some saran wrap, and I'll show you this in just a moment as well. And then probably some bubble wrap, some packing paper, and then I use a double corrugated box. That's really important. I write all over the box, fragile, glass, all those things. And a lot of times these ship media mail, so that saves me some dollars in actual shipping, but I'll still charge people the amount it would if it wasn't media mail, just to cover my packing supplies. So that might be a tip for you if you do ship old pictures or anything with glass like that. Now there are some things that I would just rather not ship, but it's gonna be a hard sell locally, so we need that nationwide audience that eBay has to sell things like this New Kids on the Block trunk. This was from an avid collector. We've sold all the contents that were inside this individually and made a lot of money, so the trunk was the last thing to go since it was holding everything in the garage. And so this is gonna be so awkward to ship, but luckily we got a nice backpack leaf blower for my parents for Christmas, and so, you know, it's March and we're saving these boxes. For random things like this, I will Frankenbox this. We do sell a lot of just rare, unusual items, so that means random sizes, weird ways to pack, all those things come up. And so I was just gonna show you too, like this is an old piece of cardboard that I think I used for ink cartridges, but I saved it just because it might fit something, and lo and behold, it fits this perfectly. So after I wrap this up, I'll use this for extra support in packing this item up. We also sold this Japanese mermaid, which if you ever come across anything that's porcelain and Japanese, it's probably a good buy if you can get it cheap, because this one sold for $25, but our last one sold for $2.50. So a lot of times these Japanese porcelain items are very valuable. Now, I do keep bags of trash, essentially, old cardboard, things that have arrived to me, and I'll just store it away, and it helps me for packing up things like this. Like, I also ordered makeup recently, and it's in a great double corrugated box, and it'll actually fit right in there. So I'll just save little things like that. So that's it for my packing tips for today. If you have particular packing tips that you want to know, send me a message in the comments, and I would love to answer them in our next video.
I sure hope you found those packing tips helpful. I'm just going to run through the rest of the items that I'm packing up now that I'm done showing you my tips. One is the Strixon stickers, sold for $5. That's pure profit. The second one is the Nike shirt that sold for $30. Also, the Airborne vintage tee that sold for $40. That was part of the same lot that we got the Nike shirt, and we bought $80 worth of items. Forgot to show you, didn't video any of it, but we purchased a lot of Cannon Mills towels that will go in our personal collection, and so that's almost paid for itself. Next, we sold the pair of Dale Earnhardt hats for $25. That's pure profit. It's from an old purchase. Next is the antique nude mermaid, sold for $30, pure profit from the 3 Generation Shed pick. Also sold the Lionel steam engine for $25. That's pure profit. This was from a small little pick John went on by himself. Again, we didn't take video of. Wrapping up the vintage Ford car radio for $50, and that's pure profits from the 3 Generation pick as well. Last eBay sale for the week is the New Kids on the Block trunk box, sold for $50. That's pure profit. Last item I'm wrapping up here is the panoramic that I talked about a little bit earlier in the video, and that is from an Instagram sale. Anytime someone sends me a message on our Instagram and asks will I be willing to ship it, I usually say yes, and this was this instance.
So that's a wrap on what sold this week on eBay store, and we made, after eBay fees, $754. Thanks for watching. We hope you like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.